There's a lot of things starting to become very, very clear now about exactly what the civilization is in the Western world, particularly in England, and what the culture is. When you're a kid and you grow up, everything's just kind of normal. And I think the main sales pitch from the establishment that, everything's there for our good or our benefit, shoemakers make shoes, plumbers do plumbing, everyone provides a service, some humans do useful things for each other for the benefit of mankind. My current opinion, taking into consideration everything that I've learned and the whole perspective change, I think in a way, what Russell Brand says, this kind of like the facade of niceness, there's nothing wrong with being nice. And, I've always grown up, with this kind of altruistic, honest kind of, politeness about the world and going about interactions with human beings. Even though, there are some bad in people and good in people. And to be honest, I've always had a positive outlook on life. But I think that positive outlook can be affected and changed through different things that happen to people. But also that, different peoples have got different perspectives on life. Obviously, the class system imprints or conditions people to different opinions and views, but then you've also got, genetic factors as well. There are all kinds of different things, but the main point now, I guess it comes down to governance. And so with a just civilization, or with a democratic society that we've got in this current culture, which they've built up, or which we've ended up with, however you want to look at it. So we've got local councils, and then we've got the central government, and we've got this system of voting and elections, although a lot fewer people are taking part in it now, right? So at least from 1066 onwards, we've got this kind of monarchy, royal establishment, but they have this parliament where we can vote for people to represent us, and people take up grievances with the king. And, we've got these charters or whatever we're given to have, local justice systems and local councils and mayors, and we're supposed to elect people. Now, the thing is, we elected the jury, right? Now, probably the most important thing that I've realised or learned is that, so you would go to the court not only for criminal matters, if you've done something wrong, you get judgment by your peers, who we've meant to have elected these juries, these jurats. But also, if you've got a grievance against someone else, but not necessarily a crime, just like civil matter. But then you've got these civil requests. Now, there's always that question, at what point does someone owe you something, or have they stole it? At what point has someone stolen something from you and they're a criminal, or they owe you some money and, they're disputing whether or not they owe you it or not. I guess that comes down to an argument of facts, who... if you buy something and the quality is not there, or someone sells you an item, that if someone sells you a jacket, right, and all the stitching comes out or it falls to bits, then you want to claim the money back. If they don't give you the money back, then you've got a dispute. is that a crime or not? Well, it depends what the law is. Maybe, you know, is there a law on quality, or is there a law on anything, you know? So I guess the civil dispute is when a piece of a crime is not committed in the sense of a crime, you know. But then again, you know, is there an offence there? You know, if they sell you a jacket, did they know that it was, you know, not as described? You know, was that false representation, a false statement? You know, a jacket was, you know, fit to wear when it wasn't. You know, you can pick it to pieces basically with legal arguments, and it all comes down to what the facts are. But you're always questioning things, you know, and at the end of it, you're trying to get answers and facts out of people, information, in order to establish something, you know, and depending on what the reason was, depends on whether it was intended or not, or an accident. Then you get into, like, you know, the skills of the barrister, the silk, you know, questioning people, getting information out of them. Those are really the skills of the barrister, not just law and understanding the law, but this whole kind of like running through interrogations and questions to get the right answers they want out of it, or knowing what questions to ask. This kind of interrogation or questioning and framing of things in order to demonstrate or show something, that is where I see what the skills of the barrister or the solicitor are there for. Although solicitors are meant to be more, I suppose, on the law side, not necessarily as much performing it in the courtroom. But it's become clear that they had these civil requests, so that's not like necessarily a dispute between one citizen and another citizen that's judged by the courts. It's actually something that you're asking, you know, the government to do in the local area, or asking permission to do something, or get something changed, or requesting funds or anything like that. But that would be done in court, right? And you can they had the mayor, actually. It could be a mayor or justices, depending on what sessions it was, right? Now it's clear, and you got the sheriff, the constable, who was meant to be in charge of, you know, organising, you know, getting crimes and offences sorted out. Well, the hue and cry, he arranged all the basically the hue and cry for the village, you know, participating in the enforcement of the law. But also the sheriffs and constables had certain obligations for in the voting and elections, and in the arrangements and proceedings in the voting and the elections for the mayors and the jurats, right? Now, this is what I've come to realise now, right? So we actually elected the jury. We voted for them. As far as I can gather, the process was different at different stages and depending on different areas of the country. But the basis is that you nominate people. I think at one point it was a free open nomination, so you could nominate anyone you wanted in your village, right, or town or whatever. You know, if it was free, you effectively write it down on a bit of paper, like it's a free open process. And then they started putting certain, they started getting candidates because the mayor started nominating certain people in sometimes, you know, like he chooses 3 people and you choose out of them. But some of it was a free open process. They adopted that in America under the Constitution when they first wrote the full Constitution up, and I think that was meant to be the basis of how they were going to run it, like a petition, basically, like a free open petition. I think that was the idea. I think the idea in America was, well, we'll have it like a free open petition, you know, like completely free. I think they probably were inspired by elections ought to be free. And then they thought, well, yeah, completely free to enter. You don't have to pay any money to enter it, but also it's free. The process is free. You can, you nominate your dog to be president if you want. Although probably likely got to be human, I think. But that's a joke. But in America, I think those were the only rules that they had. Were like, you've got to be an American citizen or live there for so long, or from a certain state, or not from a certain state. Those were the state rules, actually, which I think they've got construed. Those are what the rules were. There were some state rules which were you had to be from the state or not from the state, right? Those were the state rules, and the rest of the rules were that there are no rules. You write down what you want. Now, because the sheriff and constable are involved in this voting and elections, and the mayors and so forth, and the judges, you've got the judges coming from London as well, doing the circuits, on behalf of the king's business and so forth. Now, what I think's happened is that, when we got conquered in 1066, it was really kind of like when the Romans came over. The Romans had republic, but then they started having the imperial. They actually had the families as well, but they've switched around between it. They did have republics. So when the Romans came over, you got these different generals and so forth. But they brought the franchise over. It was really they wanted to bring their enterprise and take over with it. Really, I don't really see it now as anything different from kind of like a big corporate entity, basically. It effectively was a corporate takeover with an executive, really, with a different style. Like now we've got corporate art, but it was Roman art, Roman culture, Roman roads, that's now what I've realised what happened with the whole McDonald's thing coming from America. We had it was almost like building Roman roads, and we had the McDonald's drive-thrus and so forth and so forth. But just seeing it in this different context. So I think with the Norman conquest, we basically had the French come over, and they established all the castles and reinforced the Christian religion and so forth, and the language, and that's why it's a franchise, a French en France franchise. So now the franchise was family owned then. And they had the king, who was the head of the family or in charge of the family. So it's a family franchise, basically. And then they're writing the laws, the policies, and then for better law and order and to keep the peace, they established, well, the courts already existed, didn't the Anglo-Saxon courts, and then the Celts had courts as well. So we've always had courts and justice, but it depends who's running it, under what executive and under what franchise, under what company. Some company models, might adopt certain things or models, basically. Now, the thing is that it's always sold for our benefit. Oh, yeah, and it's good to have justice because, criminals, want to have law and order and fairness. So always on fairness and establishing what happened. That's what we get sold on, and everyone's, gets on with making things, doing their trade and business. But these certain people are getting money out of it and making profits as well. Although, other people make profits when they sell goods and do well. Now, I think what is important and significant at this point now, I think, is with the jurats. Because I think the basis supposedly of the Jurats in the eyes of the public was meant to be sold to us as, you can vote for, you know, the most honest or trustworthy people in the village who you'd want, you know, to make decisions and judgments. And, you know, then, you know, hopefully everything, you know, gets run and operated okay, right? But what I think's happened is that these Jurats and the mayor and the sheriffs and so forth and the government, central government, you see, we represented directly to the king with grievances in writing and so forth, but then we started having MPs to go in. I think what's ended up with all the oaths to the company, to the family and so forth, is that they've all kind of been sort of persuaded over. Now, when we had a free open process like in America, when they supposedly started with the president, you know, completely, totally free, you don't have necessarily franchising control unless it can sway the opinion of the public. You know, now, let me just change to a different image now, because this is where I think that the jury has ended up going really wrong. The idea of the jury, when the constable and the sheriffs are running the whole elections, and the mayor, and then the mayor starts nominating people who he chooses. It's a free process for us to choose who the next mayor is, completely free of process, and he's nominating 3 of his best choices. Well, at that point, you know, the sheriff might be, you know, elbowing him in the side, you know, and tapping his foot and giving him the wink, 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 nudge, nudge. Why don't you nominate 3 of my, you know, preferable, you know, Porky Pig police officers? You know, this is it. And at that point, I just want to go. So if we go to the William Penn case, for example, in the 1670s, we've got, it tells you who's present, right? And we've got this Sam Starling, who is the mayor, right? So this is a criminal proceeding, but we've got the mayor in a criminal proceeding. And then we've got the recorder. Now, the recorder is regarded as a justice of the peace, right, which I've read and confirmed. So both the mayor and the recorder are effectively justices of the peace, and the alderman. So you've got Bloodworth, Peake, Robertson, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 5 aldermen. There's quite a few people there. And then you've got 2 sheriffs present, right? And you've got 2 sheriffs present. Now, this trial, so Penn is the son of an admiral. So he's the King's fleet, right? So he'll be quite well educated, and he'll know his rights and the law. He'll probably quite be well spoken. And this took place not far from London Bridge, you know, up the road and Forkham Right or something, on one of the main streets in London. You know, he gets loads of people. He's obviously got religious views and opinions about spirituality and religion, really. You know, and I don't know whether the mayor, we don't know what the mayor and alderman and sheriff's characters are like, if they're from middle class or the equivalent of, you know, whether working class or what, but it seems that they weren't too keen on giving him his rights. You know, they might have thought it was a, you know, spoiled admiral's boy or something, you know, or at least studenty. You know, I think Penn was probably equivalent of, you know, like a studenty sort of educated person, you know, from a well-off family. And I think that this jury will have they might have known, you know, who he is, or known that his dad's an admiral. We don't know what conversations took place or what they picked up on from the proceedings and so forth. But these jurats, the jury will have been voted in and elected, and they will probably recognise this, and that's probably why they were reluctant to convict Penn if his father's an admiral. Although, you know, he was kind of in an opposition position, in like an opposition to the main religion that the king had, even though his dad was an admiral of the king. So you've kind of got, you know, it's this kind of situation now with, you know, people like Andrew Bridgen and Jeremy Corbyn and George Galloway. You know, they're parliamentarians or, you know, esteemed people, but they're in opposition to the mainstream, you know, so that kind of thing. Although I'm not saying George Galloway is the son of an admiral or anything like that, but you know, you see, George Galloway is from, you know, he's Scottish and he's worked his way up from, you know, humble upbringing. So, you know, in a way, I mean, you could have put George Galloway in the mayor position, and it could have been me as William Penn, you know. So, you know, although I think this particular mayor was pro-royalist, to be honest, by the sounds of it. So, you know, so we've got these people here. Now, the thing is, so here the jury, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's 12. They've still got 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 12 jurors. Now the thing I think is worth mentioning about these 12 jurors is that, so they are they're voted in, right? That's for sure. And it's possible at this time they've got that job, like that's what they do, right? For possibly, you know, their lifetime. You know, it's they get elected. They don't have to elect a different one every year. You know, they kind of like the councillors serve for 3 years, but possibly even longer. You know, once they're voted in. But at this point, there isn't this kind of like political party thing like Labour, Conservative, Tory, or anything like that, right? You've just got, you know, your although this is after, I think they started to get some kind of early sort of parties, but this is 1670, so I mean, when you've got, you see, the Parliament wasn't like all the time like it is now. It was only like periodically, then it got longer and longer and longer. But it wasn't just like, you know, Oliver Cromwell getting elected to be an MP or whatever. But the thing with the MPs is that only certain people could vote. I think women could vote, but people who had got lands or certain wealthy people, really, were voting for these people. So it's always been people who were making profits or owning lands, really, I guess, from the start. So you're looking at people who are basically making profit, right? Electing people in to represent in Parliament, although some of them are clearly opposed to how the king wants the country to be run. They've got their own ideas how it should be run, you know, but to whose benefit? And then you've got all the, you know, you've got all that issues to do with conquest and the rest of it, and, you know, all the different cultures, ancestry, and all the rest of it. But what I really think is a pivotal point is, at this stage here, I think there's a point where I think when you're electing a jury and you've got a free open choice about it, and you're meant to be voting for people you like or trust, right? Then suddenly like the mayor or the, you know, and the people running it, like the sheriff and the king, and start changing the rules and say, well, you know, we're going to nominate, you know, 3 people and you can choose from them. At that point, right, you're not getting the jury that you want. You're getting the jury that they're proposing or suggesting. And that is really now, hold on, now that is when we start getting into this, which is the tickets. Now, if so, the jury are hearing these civil requests. You know, I want to, you know, build a, you know, put a swimming pool in my back garden. Although that's unlikely in 1670. Although in Scotland they did have some of those in prehistoric saunas. You know, I don't know if they're Roman baths or whatever, but you know, you get the idea. You know, someone wants to, you know, possibly even get a karting license. You know, because they have carts. Or, you know, I don't know, build a blacksmith shop or God knows what. But they've got to get certain things you need consent for, you know, what if they want to have a market or whatever. Or so, you know, it's not just arguments between, you know, someone, you know, if you, well, I don't think you could get divorced back then. Oh, no, you could, I think you could get divorced because you had Henry VIII, didn't you? But, you know, civil disputes between, you know, Mr. Smith and Mr. Johnson, you know, about, you know, whether his jacket's falling to bits, but he sold him it and, you know, he won't give him the money back, things like that. But then you've got requests to the king, or at least in the local area, you know, the king, you know, the King's Council or whatever. Or so, you know, I think that you could get money from, you could get money for, like, you know, charity, you know, like for church or for poor people, could get donations, justices could order it, just general stuff, right? And I think what happens is they're tweaking the courts, right? And they start taking the jury out of the magistrates' court. You see, the assizes and quarter sessions are only a couple of times, four times a year, and so forth. So you've got your local 100 court, although not in London, and then you got these assizes that come around for more serious crimes and offences, or if you've got something to take up with on a national level, you know, with the king or whatever. So now, so what's important is they've got the mayor in there in that William Penn case, but it's a criminal case, right? But he's acting as justice of the peace. So what I think the biggest thing in my mind, and I'm probably dragging this on a little bit now, but is this whole thing with the jurats who are like voting for a certain time. Now, with the mayor, who is the head of the council now, I think we've had a switch. We've had like a bit of a fast one pulled on us, where they've started the jury, the jurats who were elected in for, you know, indefinitely or, you know, for full time, have ended up with being called councillors, right? Matters of council, you know, civil requests, business, franchise, business, but also, you know, meant to deal with rights and liberties, because it's civil requests, you know, like right to petition the king, you know, and get consent to petition parliament and so forth. And the mayor, they've got different models for the council where you can have a mayor or no mayor, but it doesn't really matter because they have like a chair. Now, they choose the chair of the council. It is elected by the council, isn't it? Who's going to be the head of the council now? Well, they're all councillors, aren't they? But one of them is the chairman. but he's just a councillor. But they call him the chairperson. But if the councillors are all Jew-rats, then one of the Jew-rats is going to become the head of the council, right? To make who's the chair and who makes the decisions and puts the orders through, right? Well, what happens to that's going to be the mayor, right? Well, they don't call him the mayor. They've somehow kind of shifted the mayor to the, well, they've started calling the mayor the chair. Hey, is that the mayor or is that the chair? He's a chair, he's a mayor with a chair. No. And then they get this mayor guy now who wears almost like a weird triangle hat, like a town crier. Looks more like a town crier than a mayor. And the medallion and all the rest of it. But we only really use them for ceremonial, to do openings and this or that or the other. Or they meant to have judicial authority, and then, you know, they start taking away the judicial authority from certain mayors, depending on whether it was Metropolitan Council, County Council, or whatever. So, I haven't been looking. I've read a little bit about different council formats, but I've not focused on that yet because I haven't got around to it. But what's important is that they don't have those Jew-rats are not hearing civil requests or criminal cases in the hundreds now, and the jury that was in the assizes or quarter sessions, which turned into the Crown Court, now they select it at random from the public and shuffle the jury from random people. So we're not actually picking the jury who we want. So it could be anyone, right? And it's random. And then they only serve. They don't know the law. They don't know their rights like a lawyer, you know, or educated in the liberties and rights of the realm. In fact, now they're saying, oh, you know, the jury can only know law that the prosecutor or solicitor, the prosecutor or solicitor, barrister brings up. If they bring up law or relevant law, they sit there and listen to it and be told. They're not allowed to go home and research anything. Yet the Jew-rats were elected for long term, and they were required to know the law, and they would have learned more about the law as they went along, and particularly have to know about the rights because it was in the oath, right? Or else they can't do the job properly. How can you know everyone's rights and liberties if you don't know the law? Right, this is almost like we the people, you know, the Constitution of America. Who's got the right to interpret it and understand it? Well, the people who wrote it. Well, it's ascribed to we the people, right? So now, the current jury oath is that, you know, we will try the defendants, you know, whatever, but they're not trying the defendant. The prosecutor's trying the defendant. That they're there to judge and make a decision. They're not, you know, if you have a jury saying, oh, we're going to try them, well, are you the prosecutor? No, we're the jury. Well, the prosecutor's trying them, you know, he's having to try at someone. You know, it's almost kind of like they make the jury now, make them feel like they're prosecuting rather than there being the preferred choice of the people, the most popular, most honest, trustworthy, of who the majority of the public prefer to sit and who are trustworthy of making decisions, you know, not random people who might not have a clue what they're talking about, or who might be biased or prejudiced, or, a Scotsman, English, Irishman, Catholic, disabled person, woman, man, old man, young man, you know, whatever, just go to the swimming baths and pick 10 people out of the pool, at least they were meant to have, they were meant to be chosen particularly on merits of character good character, or what the general public thought was good character, strong, good character, and they would pick up some legal knowledge themselves as well, right? Which is required in that oath, you know. Definitely Magna Carta and Bill of Rights and so forth, like that, all standard. Like the American Constitution, we the people, you know, who can interpret and understand that? Well, the people who wrote it, you know. So now the thing is, when you get these political parties coming in, right, and now these jurats are not called jurats anymore, they're called councillors, right? Well, all right, then we'll vote for the councillors, which councillors we would like to have, or who are the strongest or good character, right? Well, no, because then why I've gone on to this picture is suddenly these political parties that had formed started saying, "Oh, actually, no, actually, we've got a team. We've got just the team for you. Haven't we got the team for you? The dream team. Have we got the dream team for you, Manchester United?" You know, and then out come these cards, right? The Republican ticket or the citizen ticket. You can even cross-vote, I think, on here. I don't know how you do this one, but this looks to me like it's suggestive that you could just put a big X in the top and go full Republican, or put a big X in the top there and go full citizen ticket, or if I'm getting this wrong, please let me know. Or you could cross-vote. You could go, well, I'll go for trustee long-term. We'll go for a Republican. And then I think for my short-term trustee, I'll go citizen. For treasurer, oh, I like that Dutton guy. I'll go for him. And for assessor, I'll go for Ludlow. But I'm not going for constable Fish, even though he's on the citizen's ticket, because Fish is a bit smelly. So we'll go, I think I'd prefer Charles Weaver, although he's a Republican, but I'll tick that box there. So you got a bit of cross-voting coming on here, which is quite, well, that's how I'm looking at this ticket. I might have got it wrong, that ticket. There's some numbers written in there, but I don't know if this is just what they happened to use one of them when they were counting up at the end, and then of all these that got handed in, they were tallying them up, and they just used one of them sheets to tally up. I might have got that wrong. I might have read this wrong, but that's what it's looking like to me. And here, so this is a Republican ticket. So the Republican Party is saying, well, most definitely you want Pearson for governor, and you want Pierce for commissioner, and you want, you know, Farr for councillor, and Johnson, he's definitely the man for senator, this guy. And for the county officers, who else would the Republicans possibly even contemplate having other than Mitchell, H. Bowker, George Dodge, and Hemby Carbell? Registrar, treasurer, and commissioner. You know, who else? You know, this is the dream team ticket here. I mean, you know, don't worry your little head. You don't worry your little mind. You know, when it's voting day, the stress, the worry. Who shall I vote for? Is anyone else going to vote for him? What's the point in voting for my dog if everyone else is voting for their cat? You know, or if I vote for my auntie or whatever, or you know, and then the council's complaining, you know, that everyone just voted for themselves, so it's a draw, it's a tie. Everyone just wrote their own name down on there, you know, it's a tie, it's a draw. We'll have to have everyone in session together. That will be a good one for when they invent the internet, wouldn't it? You know, in the future, like, where's Marty McFly and Doc? Hey, Doc Brown, what happened? You know, so everyone just voted for themselves. Well, we can't have everyone being the sheriff. Well, well, don't worry, I'll just take you back to 1985 and we can go online and I'll just make you a new Bill Gates. He'll knock us up a new program in 1985 so we can all vote together. You know, who knows, he's too busy, you know, buying up the farmland everywhere or whatever. You know, Bill Gates, that's it. You know, I think I've got the joke now. Bill Gates, you know, he never did open up the gates, did he? You know, even when he had the chance in 1985 on his, you know, Microsoft until it slows down, you know, after you've put about 2 programs on it or whatever. So, oh look, here's a card. It's a 3 of diamonds. No. Aaron P. Hughes for mayor, Lewis for alderman, and Hopkins for common councilman. There you go. All solved. Just go down there and pick up your ticket. You know, if you want to go down to the Workers' Party office and just pick your ticket up, all ready for you. You know, stand that in stick that in the voting box on voting day, and they'll see you right. So this is, you know, is a union ticket. It's all decided for you. You know, this political party have got themselves together, and it's David Cameron's union ticket. You know, Governor Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, Liz Truss, Suella Braverman. The dream team. How can you go wrong? You know, you just go pick that ticket up from your local McDonald's franchise. From the Conservative headquarters. Although, just a minute, isn't this the Cabinet Office of Parliament? Oh no. So this is the court party of Parliament. This is Boris Johnson. I'm the Prime Minister. This is me and my cabinet, my government. Well, I thought it says Conservative Party headquarters here. Yes. Well, this is Boris Johnson. This is the Prime Minister Limited. But I need to go to Parliament to speak to the Prime Minister in the Cabinet Office. But no, that's what I'm in Parliament. It's Boris Johnson. Now this is Boris Johnson Limited. AKA the Conservative Party. Oh, there you are, Prime Minister, and your cabinet. Well, I'm just coming to pick up the union ticket, the Parliament ticket. Well, just a minute. It's got everyone who's already in the government on it. That's the idea. Well, whose idea was this? The Prime Minister's. Well, these are our new jurors that he's got lined up for you. Oh, I see. The new jurors. All those people that we were supposed to be voting for ourselves and picking to sit in the court and judge us well and fair, and all civil requests like what we should be building in the town, and, you know, who should be expanding and ruining the village and, you know, turning it into Starship Enterprise or Barry Sheeman's Fantasy Media Centre or whatever, now I see what's going on. So is this Boris Johnson United? You know, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. Dun, 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 dun. You know, I see what's going on now. That's why all the decisions are getting made in the council. But just a minute, that's funny, because when I go into court to make a civil request... Oh, sorry, no, the council. When I go into the council to make a civil request, you know what? I want to get 17 houses built next to Miss Pearson's house, but just... So you can't do that. There's little girls playing in the woods at the side of there. Well, she'll have to play somewhere else, won't she? You know, I make my case to the mayor and the jurats. I want to build 71 houses. Well, let's have a look then. Let's get your evidence on there on the table. Would you like to swear the jury in? Okay, we swear we will try the defendant on the evidence. Well, just a minute. This is not a criminal trial. Oh, sorry, wrong oath. we swear we will judge the matters on the evidence. Well, on the franchise. I mean, we will uphold your rights and liberties. Do you know what the rights and liberties are? Well, if the solicitor brings the matter up, if the solicitor raises the matter of decides to pull the rights out of his pocket this time for this jury, then they might know what the rights are. But the usual jurats who have got a lifelong subscription, who are well versed in the rights already, well, they would have known the rights, sure, Well, don't worry. Well, okay then. So jury, counsellors, now they put the evidence on the table. Would you like to judge this matter and make a verdict on it? Or have you already made up your minds? Is party headquarters already told you how you're going to vote on it or not? Because I hope you didn't decide on your conscience before proceedings began, or else that could bring up problems in a fair trial or a fair civil request, So I'm starting to see what's happened now. I think that we've been hijacked by some franchise, but they all seem to be in on some kind of. But then you see the businesses that are doing the council business and other people who come into the court with requests are all people who can afford to and have got money, who have made money out of it. Just a minute. There's who's that on the jury? On the council. Oh, it's Bob Hoskins. Hello, Bob. Have you got some Just a minute. Haven't you got shares in the McDonald's that the honourable gentleman's coming in to put planning permission in for? And isn't that also got some shares in the Care traffic? Oh, look, it's Keir Starmer. Hello, Keir. Would you like to build a new McDonald's? No. I'm not here to build McDonald's. I'm just here to plan your destiny for you. And by the way, I have taken the oath with the king for allegiance to his master plan. Now that he owns all of the companies and businesses through Block Vanguard, So, but don't worry, it's all under control, because when I put these plans on the table, the jury are all a member of my political party that I'm also a member of, so I can't lose. A genius plan. It's almost kind of like why I always call it, the conservative ticket, Just a minute. I thought this was a court of civil requests. Yes, but all the requests have already been decided. Who by? Well, from party headquarters, of course. That's why you voted for those jurats who've got control of the council. Who's got control of the council? The political party. Yes, but I haven't put my plans on the table yet. No, all the plans are already sorted out. We've got the plans lined up for the next 12 months coming into the court, because that's how we're redeveloping the whole town, and everything will fit in nicely. Yes, I know, but you can't make a decision until we've laid the plans out. Oh, it's pre-planned. It's a pre-planned council. Yes, that's where the strategy comes in. The strategic planning department. Ah, yes, like booking gigs. Yes, and we've got Black Sabbath playing on Sunday. Oh, no, that's been cancelled. We don't have Sundays anymore. There's no more day of rest, And then we've got Soundgarden playing. Oh, no, we don't. Oh, yes, we do. Oh, no, we don't. What happened to Chris Cornell? He committed suicide like, Kurt Cobain. That was a misfortune. Yes, and I think Prince Andrew turned up for a cup of tea with Courtney Love at a later date on a surprise visit, Well, the same Prince Andrew popped up to be the Chancellor of our university. Yes, that's the same one. Same Prince Andrew, I think that we've been bought out. There's being conquered, and then there's, having the right to have your own business, but I don't even think we've got the right to have our own business now. And all the people who are going into the council seem to be the people who are doing part of these franchises and master plans. and as the public going in to object or oppose or even petition, it seems that, a lot of these, even though these councillors are long-term, they don't seem to know our rights and liberties properly anymore. They don't seem to know our rights and liberties. Even when you get a 400,000 signature petition in Wales, until you actually have to persuade them that, if it was a jury, that, one of them is opposed to the plans. And that's all it takes, So it seems that this matter of who's been buying everything up, buying all these companies, because effectively, I didn't really understand all these charters before. I didn't really know about them. Other people knew about them, but don't think they explained it in a particular way to get it across properly. But effectively, what I think the government are kind of doing, like they did with these charters for, Stratford-on-Avon or, Canterbury or London, they've effectively given Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and I guess Elon Musk kind of like their own charter and governance, really. Although in law, they don't have a judicial authority or right to hold court. But they've built themselves a machine that, almost like the Roman army, is just distributing justice without a lawful authority. And the government aren't kind of intervening or stopping them, like just pulling people out of meetings, stopping them transact information, encouraging people to be antisocial, not letting people have free speech in their own houses, but not through the courts and law of England, through this new machine they've got, which kind of, it's in everyone's house, and it's exerting its own the equivalent of a judicial authority without a lawful due process, and you can't get a lawful due process because they've provided you with a civil. What you really want is access to civil requests or justice. But they've blocked you off from getting the details of the person if you've got an argument with them. They're shielding them. And they're giving us this small claims court, which is set up, it's just money. As if every dispute you could have would only ever be over money. If someone owns you money, but only small money, not big money, and the more bigger money that you want to claim, the more bigger money it costs. And you ain't going to afford to be able to claim back big money if you ain't got big money, only petty money. But people don't want access to claim money. They want justice. This person removed me against my rights. I want restoring. I want justice under civil liberties of, the Great Charter. I want the law of England to be enforced. And in some cases, they've committed a criminal offence for the Public Meetings Act, but the police won't engage. The police won't act in these instances with the big platforms because it's, look, it's Nick Clegg, Sir Nick Clegg, and it's Sir Mark Rowley. Oh, hello, Sir Mark Rowley. I've just been kicked off YouTube, unlawfully pulled out of a meeting in contrary to the Public Meetings Act. Do you mind taking legal action against your colleague at arms, Sir Nick Clegg? Do you mind taking criminal proceedings against Sir Nick Clegg, Sir Mark Rowley, please? Oh, no, I can't do that. That's I swear allegiance. We're doing an operation, a campaign. Yes, but I'm within my own country that's protected by our military to nurture civil justice and growth. Well, yes, but we're on a mission, a campaign. Yes, but not against us. You're supposed to protect and defend us against foreign forces, not take away our civil liberties from us with a campaign. Is that, our access to justice, where is the, small claims cut online? How much are you claiming? I'm not claiming any money. I need YouTube to restore my channel back. It's under the authority of Parliament. Oh, well, you'll have to go see Parliament, the Petitions Committee. Haha, you're pulling my leg now. The Petitions Committee aren't going to do anything. It's like you're talking to a brick wall. What, Cat Smith, MP, she doesn't, there's more chance picking somebody out of a random jury at Crown Court who's been picked out of the back pocket of the Electoral Register. Oh, Cat Smith was picked out of the back pocket of the Electoral Register to be the chair of the Petitions Committee of the Parliament of England. Cat Smith from Lancashire. Ooh, yes, and I've done my training course with the Labour Party for 6 months in my special 5-star hygiene course, and I'm highly qualified now. Just like I picked out someone out of the back pocket of a jury in Leicester Town Square. Are you available to come for a jury on Saturday at 6 o'clock? Yes. Say the oath. I shall try the defendants in 3 sentences. Blah blah blah. Now I'm qualified to be a juror. Oh, now I'm qualified to be the chair of the Petitions Committee of all England. I've got access to the great library of Parliament, even though it's moving to the National Archives, So now, we'll be able to get access to the information, It's almost like the Muppet Show, isn't it? I think now the Elizabeth and Charles must certainly know what's going on. Making sure they've got people in these places on these tickets who don't know exactly what's going on. They just know they're playing for a team. They're doing the right thing. As long as we get to the, save some school children and do some primary school painting and, have a feat and a fair and, get the figures down, less accidents, it's all good. Do some charity work, for cancer research, and then we can build 10 more McDonald's to, raise cancer figures back up again. Is there some kind of strategy or plan behind all this? This is it. Well, yes, the Department of Innovation and Technology, as long as Charles is getting his satellites and space stations and rockets and mobile smartphone tablets through the looking glass and into every house, so then he can implement his new laws through Youssef, Achai Ganu, SNP party, so then nobody can say what the fuck they want in their own house. Just a minute, it's my own. I can't even have a political discussion with my wife without, the MI5 listening in. If it's a political discussion in your own house, then Parliament needs to be privy to it. It's who owns this company? Well, I think that Charles clearly owns planet Earth. And his talent scouts, Patrick Stewart, going where no man's gone before, Australia, Canada, America, the scouts, the adventurers, the new charters, the new enterprises. So, where's the kingpin? It seems like, he definitely owns it now. And, I don't think we have a choice. Any resilience will be futile. Elon Musk gets his satellites, his neural links. Mark gets his new toy line. Bill Gates gets to own the surface of the sphere. It's all planned out on the Union ticket, on the Union Innovation and Technology ticket. That's the ticket, And Lucy Fraser's going to sign it all off. Why would anyone want to go against the ticket? You'd have to be insane, wouldn't you, Lucy? Lucy Fraser, it's the same ticket here, So this is like the Conservative Tory ticket, The eagle has landed. This is it, There is no other ticket, And if you don't vote for this ticket, there's something wrong with you. You're clearly deranged or mental, because you're headed for the Stone Age. You're going back in time. You're going to evolve back into a slime, in less than 3 generations. If you don't go for the Department of Innovation and Technology ticket, you're going to revert back to a slime, in 3 generations, back to the Stone Age, Or if we take a couple of bit of time out, can we have a 10-year time out, Are we going to have a vote on what wallpaper we can have in this future ticket, Is it going to be flowers or stripes or dots and zigzags, Can we vote on Lucy Fraser's nail varnish, What colour would you like to paint the town, Lucy? Yellow, red, green, like the GB News background style now. It's all planned out. The new franchise. Don't you like what we've done to the place? No, I don't like what you've done to the place. It's a bloody mess. Whose idea was that? Ronald McDonald's. Oh, corporate art. Don't you like corporate art? No, I can't stand corporate art. I can't stand it. I detest it. Well, that's sorry, but with the strategic planning department, it's got it all worked out now. Just a minute, why are they trying to save Venice then with, super wave, $80 billion, mobile raising tidal controls just to save a couple of old, houses, our council is itching to demolish our town. And let Tokyo, deploy a new operative, global base from here, Our council is itching, like the levelers, leveling the land. They've been itching to, we had a Venice, we had the Unicorn pub, the 16th and 17th century buildings. But, because Barry Sheeman had a hard time when he was younger, they had to be demolished because, they don't stand for anything but poverty, even though, in Venice, apparently the floor floods every, 6 months or whatever, or every 3 months, but they're desperately trying to save it, They could have sent Barry Sheeman over to Venice and, he'd have just said, right, it's a load of crap, just, trash it all. I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know what it is with the people in this country. Oh, it's a rich poor thing, but I don't know. But Venice, at least you're dry. Some village places do get flooded around here, actually. In Halifax, quite a bit of flooding, ripping the trees out. The council. The problem is they're fidgeting. But all this is the jurats. This is the jury, But did you ever know a jury in a courtroom, right, who went out and did casework, surveying the town and going in, if someone wants to skip moving, and then they've got a problem with their neighbours or there's some noise, you get the counsellor down, he's going for a view. They call it a view. The jury needs a view. In order for the jury to make a decision on the civil request, they need a viewing. They need a view. Hello, I've got a noisy neighbour. He's revving his motorcycle all night. I need to do something about it. It's upsetting. Oh, well, it's all right. I'll come round for a view. I was going to arrange that. The Crown Prosecutor? No. I'll just get the chairman of the council to send me down, come down in my car. Oh, no, just a minute. I've got to go help Sue Hall with her election. But just a minute, you're the council, you're the jurats. Yes, but we're getting some more jurats elected in London, Oh, actually, no, one of them's going to be the mayor. This is it. Jurats helping jurats become jurats. That's the ticket. So I think that's really kind of like, you know, painting a picture of what's happened. I can't see how it's legal, to be honest, regardless of all these new procedurals. I think if you got the procedurals out and read them and understand what they're meant to mean, like, the slots in the council sessions for this, that, and the other, and the flexibility of it, when it comes down to it, it does translate and make sense to something which is now kind of misconstrued, and people don't understand it for what it actually is and what really is going on. And a lot of the councillors aren't educated on the rights, and a lot of them have got these party priorities, which I can't see how I can't see how the political parties can even operate, and in a way, it has to be an illusion, because it can't function. The model can't function. I can't see how the model can function in the council, because it defies the principles of what it's founded on. What it's kind of doing is getting a large number of members of the public to kind of go along with something, and it's almost kind of like, there's going to be some people coming in with some cases over the next 3 years, and we kind of like it if you didn't go in and object, and just kind of like, don't worry, go along with the plan, even though, well, that's what strategic planning have done. Oh, we've got to plan it all out, we've got to plan all this out, so we won't be able to do it if we don't plan it all out. Yes, but if you planned it all out, who's planning it out? The claimant or the council? No, the mayor's planning it all out. The mayor's planning out who's going to be coming into the court to put the civil requests in. The judge is planning on what criminals are going to be coming in being convicted after he's devised some new parking schemes and toll tariffs and a few new, one-way streets and some new security cameras and some new extortionate prices that no one can afford in the town, so they have to steal everything. That's strategic planning for you. Oh, it's Charles. Hello, it's McVitie's. Oh, I've been strategically planning my new biscuit line, and no one can afford it. And here's some new clothing for your wife, a Chanel handbag. And well, it's funny. David Beckham can afford it. Well, that's part of the plan. But he's a champion, the hero's champion on the football field. Everyone's chanting for David Beckham. David can afford it, but no one else can. Well, you'll have to have Adidas and striped tracksuits and McDonald's and cheap things, but oh, don't worry, they're all loving it now. Everyone's cheering. They love this stuff. They love the McDonald's drive-through. It's a big hit. Really? Why has the crime gone through the roof then? Why are they complaining that the towns are tip and they're having to redevelop it? They never seem to be satisfied. They've had it for 2 minutes and now they're bored of it. They want to go on holiday to Venice. Well, these people want to get out of this place. Just Bora Bora. They can't wait to get out of this place. Well, why don't they go away and never come back? But Boris Johnson's just turned down an exchange student project. I don't know why they want to go to Venice. I'm not quite sure what Labour are about. I think they've been sold by the glowing up TV screen and you see, this is where you bring the TV in the magic Icaro music of the daily Coronation Street, tune, and then it's watching, people are watching an act act or a theatre, a fake thing, and kind of not living in real life. And a lot of times, and these suggestions popping up, hey, why don't you go on holiday to Bora Bora or Venice? Why don't you buy this, buy that? It's who's been making all these things. We are being designed. This is when you get into the whole thing, what I guess pretty much, I think most of the alternative YouTube channels are kind of onto this theory now. Jimmy Dore, Redacted, Russell Brand, Neil Oliver, Dr. John Campbell, Jeff Buys Cars. Most of them are onto this kind of woken up to this thing that, just a minute, where kind of, we are being designed like the products and fed up, bred almost like dogs, pedigree dogs now. And this is the time when you think, well, at what point can we not actually defend ourselves anymore or do anything about what they're doing to us? At what point do you become a sausage dog that can't jump over a freaking fence, because you don't have the ability to do it, we don't have the ability to, challenge the government on our rights if we can't understand them. But where are the jury? Where's the jury gone in the magistrate's court? We're taking it out. Where are the jurats? Where's the oath? Oh, well, where's the rights in the oath? Oh, well, we took the rights out of the oath. Well, how does anyone know what the rights are if you took the rights out of the oath? And this is where we are now. And the problem is that you've got some people who haven't woken up and who don't really understand it, and they're all for this kind of like, almost like, the football going about this, or set pieces, this kind of like, it's almost like, it is almost like going to the shop and getting the big play set and then you open it and that's it. And a lot of these women kind of like this kind of play set thing. It's, go to work, type, go for coffee, watch GB News. It's all like the play set. But what you don't want to be a Lego, or a Barbie of some, franchise. It's how we only ended up how we are through nature and freedom. Or else we'd all be identical, and that's wrong. It's much. I mean, would you rather, at the end of the day, would you rather, be, Department of Innovation and Technology, and have more tech, but, be literally a programmable robot, or would you rather be, not as advanced and free? I severely doubt. You see people like Sunak and Tony Blair. We've got to keep at the head of the front of technology, the Russia, China, global threats. But or else we're going to end up, they think that, if we don't, even if the nation was a pushover, like, when we turned up in Australia or when we turned up in North America, you're not saying, it was that much of a pushover, but, it's you can either be the aggressor or the victim at the end of the day, and there definitely is some aggressive, hostile action going on with these big corporate entities. It is hostile action, but we're the ones who are getting blamed for resisting it or opposing it on the streets or through the internet. They're not getting or they're managing to get away with not being accountable for being the ones who are doing the aggressive manoeuvres, because they're just doing it very stealthily, with stealth. You know, like, oh, we'll just update your apps and do a few changes and get you doing this, or, oh, no, you can't do that. I'm not, just a minute. You know, I'm not too sure I'm not too keen on this. You know, it's all now going back into this kind of like, these big platforms and entities are the new kind of charters, really, but they're ones without fair justice or law or rights. Or they're telling us what our rights should be, or what, even trying to change people's opinions, so we'll all, you know, think, oh, this is great, you know, why should we have fair justice? You know, but yet we've got people making decisions on YouTube and Facebook who haven't done these oaths, or not being educated in rights, or not being voted in by the people, you know, the people that we want to make decisions. We don't even know who these people are working at YouTube or Facebook. They don't even want to tell us anything. You know, they got freedom of information about our government, and now they've got the freedom of information about us, but we don't have any information about them, and they don't want to tell us anything about them. You know, it's hardly transparent. You know, Facebook doesn't even want to talk to you. Speak to my because my face ain't listening. It's and all their policies, you know, it's very, you know, consent, submit, accept. There's no bargaining. You know, there's no barring with this model. There's no, you know, I don't think it's a race or religion thing, because you could probably go to India now and they've still got markets where people haggle. So if you call Rishi Sunak out, it's got nothing to do with Hinduism. It's got nothing to do with someone being an Indian or not. Because you can go to India and, you know, haggle on a market, you know. It doesn't have to be corporate enterprise. It definitely is the corporate enterprise. It's the corporate entity and model. And it's getting a lot of these people, like Rishi Sunak, into it. I tell you what it is. It's the difference between going to Stonehenge, and they hate and despise Stonehenge and the festivals there, because it symbolises freedom and non-uniformity. And these people are all about, firstly, uniformity. They like servants. They like service. They like people to do things for them. And to be honest, they're getting to the point now where it doesn't even need to be people. They're just like things being done for them. And, you know, if you don't agree with them, you don't consent, submit, accept, they're not interested. They just want to block you and not talk to you, and they want everyone to be like that. You know, that is where they're going with this, you know. That's definitely where they're going with this. I'm not keen on it. I don't think that it's a good plan at all. I think it's quite a selfish and inhumane plan without spirit. But, I mean, if you listen to someone like that Larry Fink guy talk, it's clear that these people, they're people of sort of logic and thought. They're not necessarily people of emotion and spirit. I mean, that Klaus Schwab guy, you know, if I could have everyone connected to me through, you know, senses, and then I can feel, and we can all comprehend and understand each other. Well, you know, we've been trying to comprehend and understand with this government when everyone's been sending complaints in, but we don't get much understanding from this government, you know. We don't get anything done about the complaints, you know. Maybe we could use Klaus Schwab's new device to plug into Rishi Sunak's brain, so then you can feel and understand what the people are feeling and thinking, Rishi, you know. Only the 30% of them were turning out to vote in Lewisham, because the others aren't interested. Why aren't they interested, you know? You know, if you get that written down on some paper, why aren't you voting? As soon as they write it down, then you've got a record, you know. You have the 30% of people who didn't vote in Lewisham, you know, we made them write down why, you know. And, you know, 40% of them thought this government was corrupt and the others did not care. But at least now we know, officially in writing, that there's more people think the government's corrupted than who voted them in. Don't you think there should be an investigation into corrupt and illegal practices then? Seeing though that 40% of the public asked for it, if those were the figures. So that's where I am with it now. So I actually think that it's like a corporate takeover, but we're meant to elect these people to be human beings, to represent individual things, but instead they're a gang with a strategy, with a strategic plan. They've got themselves a strategic plan, strategic planning, and it's not going to be any good for their strategic plan if we keep, rocking up in council and objecting to them. So that's pretty much where I am with it now.